Hi. Okay, so this has been a question that's been asked a couple times. How do you meditate? So I'm going to start off by saying there's a lot of ways to meditate. A lot. There's not really any wrong way to meditate, but there are some tips that I can give you. Some ways that I do it to kind of help me settle in. And I guess to start off, the first thing I would say is cleanse. Cleanse your space. So, I like to use some Palo Santo. I also use selenite to help cleanse whatever crystals I'm using. I like to hold them in my hands when I'm grounding, cleanse any negative energy before I meditate. That way, when I go into my meditation, I'm not carrying anything that's not mine, that's going to distract me during my meditation. One of the other things I would recommend is having a space to go to meditate that you kind of keep clean. That's your sacred space. So I have my little corner in my bedroom where I have, my plants. There's a hole in the wall there. And I have my tarot cards, my frankincense, my salt lamp. I have some crystals, some plants. I like to keep, my stuff put away in this box when I'm not sitting here. That way it's not just sitting out on my table to be messed with. So you have your space, you keep it clean, that way you're not spending, an hour cleaning your space. I like to light my Palo and cleanse myself, cleanse my area, and then, just to kind of sit down and ground. So that's the other thing I'm going to cover next. So once you've cleansed your space, you have a space, and you have some music. I like to have music, but you don't have to have music. Personally, certain frequencies help me get in the mood and kind of just settle in. Right now, my Wi-Fi is being slow, so you're going to hear it go in and out. Right now I have on just a theta beat, which is something I like to listen to when I meditate because it helps me relax. I actually use all different brainwave activity beats when I do meditation. But if you're looking for one that's kind of like instantly relaxing, I recommend trying like a theta. I like the 8 hertz, isochronic tones with 432 hertz bass. Right now, what I have, those are my jars of water that I'm structuring, if you're wondering why they're sitting in front of the TV. So that's a Zenliferelax, 432 hertz Tibetan bowls. I think it's like a heart energy. It's just something it's one of my go-tos. I really like. So once you've settled in and you're kind of in your space and you don't have, stuff to distract you or bother you, then we are going to talk about breathing. So breathing is one of the first things I do to kind of help me ground and to help me find my center alignment. So this is my most favorite thing, because when I'm feeling stressed out or I'm having pain, I get a lot of pain like in my back, especially like right here in between my shoulder blades. So this is like the number one way to kind of move that energy down and release some of that tension. And I guess you could say, a chronic pain sufferer for years until I discovered this little technique. So just take a deep breath, and when I take a deep breath, I really like to kind of breathe into my heart. And then when I breathe out, I like to imagine like everything just kind of moving down my spine and just like out through my tailbone, kind of just pushing all of that negative energy out. And a lot of time I'll feel a lot of tension like balled up right in between my shoulders. So I'll focus like right there. I'll breathe in through my heart and I'll just push that energy right down and just push it out, because I get a lot of tension and energy blocked up in my heart center. Something I have to always work on, that compassion and unconditional love for others. So once you've settled in, And you've taken a couple deep breaths and you're kind of in a centered state. I like to imagine roots as if you were a tree. Roots coming out of the base of my spine, just kind of growing out of the base of my spine and just growing into the earth. Just planting themselves into the earth, just kind of firmly planting me into the earth. And me, myself, imagining myself as a tree, one with Gaia, one of her trees, one of her children. And once you've firmly planted yourself into the earth, now is the fun part. You get to start visualizing colors. A lot of times you'll first see, just kind of that dark black color when you close your eyes, just on the back of your eyelids. Sometimes you'll see lights, little flickers of lights. I see a lot of flickers of lights. Sometimes you'll see flickers of lights and colors. I'm kind of describing what I'm seeing as I see it. Everybody sees things differently. Sometimes I see light language symbols that kind of are just floating in front of my eyes. If I was a better artist, I would draw them. And imagine something that makes you feel protected. I like to picture a color. A lot of the time I picture golden light. That's almost the first thing I always see, is just this bright golden light just kind of circulating around me, around my being. And you just breathe deep. And just imagine that light as it's circulating around your head, around your body. You can imagine yourself, like a shadow image of yourself projected in front of you with the light circulating around. Or you can just see the light itself circulating around you, or shadow of yourself. Whatever feels comfortable. I've actually visualized all of those things in meditation when visualizing myself. So all of those things are normal. One of the things that I also started visualizing when I was beginning was pink, protective light, unconditional love. Something I'm always working on. So I like to visualize a little bit this color, maybe a little bit the color of my hair, but just surrounding your body. And you can mix it with the golden light, you can mix it with whatever, rainbows. I used to see a lot of rainbows. Now I see a lot of different colors and rainbows. It changes. It kind of depends on what's in alignment, what the weather's like, what the season is, what my mood is, what I see. My visuals are never the same. And they're not what most people would imagine clairvoyance would be like. When I started having my first inklings and visuals, I was like, this isn't anything like what they had in the movies. It's not anything like that. And everybody's a little bit different. Your visuals are going to be different. Some people, I guess, see pictures and colors and see just everything really intense. And me, I see a lot of colors and I see pictures and I see all of that, but it's never like super like clear and distinct. A lot of times it's almost in like a shadow, and I still have a lot of work to do on my third eye. A lot. It's not all the way open. It's probably not going to be for a little while, but that's not going to stop me from being able to see the things that I do and, taking them and acknowledging them, which is important, instead of just being like, oh, well, that's just my imagination, because it's not what I expected. Because none of this is going to be what you expected. So just kind of throw that out. All right, so you're breathing, you're seeing colors, or you're visualizing whatever it is that you're visualizing at that moment. Sometimes thoughts will come into your head. Sometimes they're not so nice. And I used to push those thoughts away and be like, oh, Distractions. No. And then I realized exactly what those thoughts meant. Those thoughts meant work. So, I'm just going to tell you, some thoughts might come in your head that are not nice while you're meditating. Don't push them away. Acknowledge them. Say, hello, what are we going to work on today? And kind of try to figure out why you're having that thought. What triggered it? What inspired it? And that will kind of help you move forward in the next process. So the next process is you're thinking about the thought, you're working on it, you're discovering the pattern behind it and the people who are involved. You're going through your forgiveness, and sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh. And in the end, you usually feel better. I've never really come out of a meditation where I had a thought that wasn't so great and come out of it feeling worse. I always feel better. But I can't, say what your experience is going to be like. So, just kind of don't get bummed out if your first experience isn't so great. If you feel like you're being attacked psychically during meditations, I recommend making sure that you're using, cleansing, tools, some sage or palo. I also like to use frankincense in my humidifier. I wear frankincense oil on my skin. I also wear a lot of jewelry, moldavite here, and my crowns that I channel with have a lot of moldavite and hematite and amethyst and rose quartz and agate. You can also use mantras and psychic shields, affirmations, and prayers, blessings, protected stones or crystals that you've programmed for, protection. And those are, I guess, my biggest tips for if you're feeling attacked. I guess if you have more questions, leave a comment and I can cover that. Also, when you're closing out your meditation, if you called in any beings or guides, it's always really important to express your gratitude. And, I always send love, light, blessings, gratitude, and just make sure that I really feel it deep in my heart, that gratitude and that love for them. And then you come out of it, and usually I'll do like a clearing, especially if I've pulled a lot of energy, if I'm channeling, which I'll just visualize, just like almost like a shower of light, just kind of coming over me and just, filtering and just integrating anything that I hadn't integrated during the meditation, clearing any energy that's flying around that doesn't need to be there anymore, so I'm not walking around like, woo! So, and then, be on your way. And usually you come out of it feeling very lifted, very happy, energized, awake. Usually if I'm suffering from a lot of pain, a lot of the pain that I was dealing with prior to the meditation won't be there. It will be significantly less. It really is probably my number one go-to when I'm feeling pain, because I suffered from pain for a really long time and couldn't find any relief until I started meditating. I was like, why have I not been doing this for years? So yeah, if you're a pain sufferer like I was, meditate. It'll save your butt. It really will. It will.